Well, the home ownership rate has dropped to a 15-year low nationwide. How did we get to this point? And more importantly, what happens next? Joining us this morning, Pat Funaro, president of Home Remedies and founder of North Atlantic Realty. Pat, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so now the home ownership rate sits at 65%, right?
Correct.
Talk to us about the factors. We know some of them, but all of the factors that played into this.
Right, exactly. Well, we're at 65%, 65.4% now, which is down from a high in 2004 of 69%. So we've seen quite a drop.
Okay.
Some of the factors are certainly the economy. We've had a lot of challenges with the economy, unemployment. The real estate market is still facing plenty of challenges. There are a lot of foreclosures and tight lending practices, which is really a challenge for a lot of home buyers. It's really much more difficult now to get a loan than it had been in the past. So all those factors are really contributing to bring down the home ownership rate.
So we have to ask, with the interest rates at record lows, will buyers be convinced that now is the best time to buy a home?
Well, it is a good time to buy a home if you can get the loan. I mean, that's really the primary factor, but the prices have come way down. Interest rates are at historically low levels, and there's a lot of pent-up demand out there. So there's a lot of people ready to jump in when they can get that loan.
And if buyers do decide to act, will their lenders share that enthusiasm and approve the mortgages, in the midst of a much stricter credit environment? Because it is a lot stricter at this point.
Right, exactly. It's almost an overreaction to the really casual lending practices of the past. So now it's sort of like the pendulum shifting in the opposite direction. So we're hoping that somehow we find a happy medium at some point, but it's still a challenge. It's really a challenge for a lot of home buyers right now.
And many homeowners are continuing to struggle with foreclosure. And as far as this trend, is it expected to continue? I mean, as far as moving on out, looking forward, what do you think is going to be taking place?
We have two factors at play. We have downward pressure on the home ownership rate because of the economy, the foreclosures, and tight lending practices. However, on the flip side, there's also a lot of pressure for encouraging people to buy. The prices have come down, the rates are low, there's a lot of pent-up demand out there. So I'm encouraged. I'm an investor and a broker, so I think we'll get back there. Maybe not tomorrow or in the short term, but I think eventually we'll get back up.
What kind of advice do you have for someone that comes into your office looking for advice from you or wanting to know from an expert's point of view? What do you want to tell them?
I want to tell them to go to their lender first and make sure that they can really qualify for a mortgage, because we don't want people to be disappointed, get their hopes up on a property and then not be able to afford it. So speak to your lender. If there's anything you need to correct on your credit, go and get that done now, so that when you are ready to when you actually do find a house, you'll be prepared and you can present a letter saying that you're pre-approved.
Perfect. Pat Funaro, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, it is a parent's worst nightmare. A Middletown mother learns her daughter was the one found dead over the weekend. We've got details on our one-on-one interview.